On.
Hi, this is just a quick run through of the Xamarin code. So when you're programming a Xamarin app, you start off in the main page. Now, this is the root of the application. So they're done by a XAML page and then a CS file, which is called xaml.cs behind it. So you can see there's labels, and as you've seen from the previous part, there's different buttons. So first off, we're going to look at the resource sharing. So it's just like a new page in WPF. So we come down here to the resource.xaml, and you can see there I have my picker, and they're just list views. That's just how it displays. But here in the code behind, you can see there's my static variables. They're strings. So that's where you pick them. Come down into um, this is like, say, the main method. This is where it initializes. So I'm adding the strings to the picker. So then come down here, and when I choose a string, if it's not equal to 0, which is anything else, it comes down here and it starts up a new thread, two new threads, one for temperature, which does this do weather method, and this one that does the do news. So you can see here I'm making use of the await call. So, and this is where I show you the thread states. So that's when it starts. So it's doing something else. So it's setting the labels to loading, and I'm setting the priority here for the thread to the highest, so it'll get it done quicker. So I'm starting the temperature thread here. Another await just to show you on the screen that it started, and then I set the news priority to above normal. So the highest priority thread will get done first. And with Android or Xamarin.Android, you can't actually update the UI from a different thread. So I have this method here, device.begin invoke on main thread. So that's just to update the label on the page. So then it comes into this method, do weather. So I have a weather method class, and I'm saying varb, this is just to store the result, equals await the weather class dot get weather method, and then I'm passing it the chosen location to string, so e.g. just Sligo. So we go to that now. So here it accepts a string in this, and then it comes down and into it's an API into the HTTP client. You can see here where I'm building the string to send off to the client. So that's the HTTP plus my app ID. You can see here, and units is metric. And I add my API key here. You can see that. So then I send it off, and it comes back to me in JSON. So I have to deserialize that JSON into the root object. That's how I deserialize it using newtonsoft.json. And you can see here all the properties, but all I want is the temperature. So that's how I access the temperature and send it back. So you can see it's a task that returns an object. So you can see it returning the object there. Then we'll go back to the main page. I'll show you the code behind the main page. So you can see they're just private async. So it's an asynchronous method which is awaiting the page loading. So the second one we're going to go to is responsive, and I have it in this. So again, you can just see the XAML here. It's just an empty labels and a button to change the color on the main thread. And I come in here, and the public main, this is the main method, so to say. So I'm just writing start, initializing the page. I'm setting a thread here when it's going to do this method. I'm starting it, setting this one, and I'm sending it to this method and starting it. So sorry. Yeah, so you can see down here I'm sending it off to start the method, and then after the method is finished, so when it's finished, if the thread name is alive, so if that is equal to true, I abort the thread. So that's use of the abort method. And as you can see, I create a random color and then set that to the background. It's not really random, but it just picks one of them and sets it to the background color. And this is the method here. So for int I is equal to 0, so this is count to 1,000. So from to 10,000. So from 0 to 10,000, it's going to display I to the page. Okay, and then this one is just the same but backwards. So that's the responsive done. So we're just going to go to a different process, which is my weather time page. So as you know, they're just labels inside a stack layout. That just means it stacks it on top of each other. There's another picker there. We're going to the time page, so you can see another static variable, and we add them to the thing, and another picker, and we're making use of thread.sleep here, and we're creating a stopwatch to time it. So you can see this is the time in local time, as you've seen from the previous part, and this is all done on one thread. So what I say is we add a button, and then when the button called two threads clicked is clicked, we await the navigation to push asynchronously to the next page. So that builds the next page and then waits until it's built, and then it pushes us to it. So we're going to go to the two threads page here. It's the same layout, so same kind of code, and as you can see here, we're going to do it on two threads. So we're going to start the thread to do the do time method and the do weather method. You can see us displaying our thing. So we're creating a new instance of the class time. Now that's not a built-in variable. I set that time. Okay, and we're saying date time. That's just a variable to catch it. Equals Tim, which is the name of the class or the instance of the class. This method and the location to string. So if we go to that now, you can see it's an asynchronous task which returns date time. It takes in a string, so I can set an empty datetime variable there just to catch it. So the current time is that time, and then I do a switch on the location. So if you chose Madrid, for instance, it will come in here, and it'll say EU zone time, which that defines the Madrid time or the Spanish time, and then EU time takes the current time away from the EU zone time and gives us back time. So that'll say plus an hour or whatever it is, and it does the same for the rest of them. And that's the time part. If we go back here to, we just go up here now. That's the time. So that's the time one done. And to get the weather, we'll just go to this. So this goes off and gets the weather, HTTP client. I'll explain this in the other one, and it returns an object. So as you can see again, it's a public asynchronous task which returns an object, and then the classes to collect it. So then in my other page, which is the different processes, I come in here into the news class, and this is the one where it displays the news. So I'm setting a lock object, a private read-only one. So in this method, it's a task which returns a list of strings, and it accepts a string. So we come in here and we set our API key, we build our HTTP client. And you come down here, you can see here we're locking the object, and that's just another box ticked, and then we're delaying it for 1 second. We send off the URL, and we're deserializing again. So we're saying for each object, set the article name to that, and as you can see, here's the deserialized object. Yeah, so using Xamarin was quite hard, but got there in the end. So now I am going to show you my WPF app. This is using the background worker, as Xamarin doesn't have a background worker built in. So just another tick box exercise. Let me get it to start now. It's probably slow because of all the Visual Studios I have going. So far we've done resource sharing, responsiveness, running threads in different processes. We've seen thread.join block, and we aborted the thread. This one is going to show us our background worker, and I shall set that up now. Okay, so I have 29 seconds. We're going to do this quick. So literally, we're just doing start the background worker that's going to update this percentage. So every 10 seconds it's going to be full, and this on the main thread is just going to update the size of my